Okay, great. We will start the meeting at 6 p.m. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 6 p.m. If we'd all stand, please, to pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All righty. Reports and presentations. Chairman's report. I think I will do that at the end. Read that letter, Dr. Joe. Okay, and then I'm going to read. Okay, so again, good evening, everyone. So we're here for the proposed FY 27 revised budget, and I would like to say a couple of words, if that's okay. So as we stated at the last meeting, the last joint meeting last Tuesday, Dr. Joe and Mr. Geis met with Chairwoman Ferretti and the town administrator, McCullum. Upon receipt, and there we found, upon receipt of the cherry sheets in January, Chair Ferretti and Town Administrator McCullum presented the issues they had with their overall town budget. What I would like to share with everyone is that I am extremely proud of our Bourne Public School administrators for being solution-oriented without affecting the students and staff of Bourne Public Schools, and coming up with a pathway to give back to the town's needs. I'm really, really proud of that. Also, I'd like to say a special thank you to my school committee team, including Zoe, for all of their time and effort during this process. I really appreciate it. So thank you. So I think I'll pass it over to the chair, Kendallin Gagne, to discuss our findings from the meeting.
Chair of the
budget and subcommittee. Yes, so that's that chair. We had a budget and facilities subcommittee on Friday, so I'll hand it over to you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So just a quick recap. So our initial FY 27 budget that we had voted on last month had a 3.7% increase from the previous year. And so prior to these cherry sheets that Chairwoman Beals had mentioned, before those came out, the Board of Selectmen and the town manager were really pleased with what we had come up with. 3.7 was great. And that was really considering we have the whole move one grade up. We were doing all of those changes, and we continue to add programs with the DESE approved career pathways. So we did a lot to only be able to increase that budget by 3.7%. And, you know, we were applauded for that. So then the cherry sheets came out, and the 3.7% was no longer really possible with the town. They could no longer afford us to have that increase, and so they wanted us to go back to the drawing board and see if we could decrease the budget by $478,000. I'm happy to say that after many hours, lots of time, that administration over there worked tirelessly to be able to make that goal happen. And really keeping in mind that we needed to have the least amount of impact on our students and our staff. So, I guess the most important thing to note with all of this, and the biggest question is, okay, so how did we actually come up with that decrease of $478,000? So the first reason or piece to remember is that when we did our budget this year, we were actually a month ahead of our usual program. So typically we are doing it in March. We had it done in February. And the reason why we were doing that was because of the whole move one grade up. We wanted to really make sure we had everything covered and that we were looking at everything for all of that. So we had our budget done a month earlier than usual. So that means that the Board of Selectmen and the town manager kind of had our numbers a month earlier than usual. With that being said, some of the things that were in that budget, ended up being a little bit of a placeholder or, our best guess at the time. Going forward now that, again, go look at your budget and see where you can make cuts. We had some answers, we had some more information, so that made it a little bit easier to kind of plug some numbers in and take some numbers out, more importantly. And then with that, that was the biggest piece, I think, and we'll go through, we have a spreadsheet that will go through it, kind of where those all came from. The other piece I wanted to mention that, we also had to, look at making some reductions in areas that we normally wouldn't, for things such as, preventative maintenance on buses, some of our supplies, do we have to tape some books? Maybe we have to tape some books.
Yeah.
After 6 years of our reading program, the books are a little worn, but, if that was, to be able to save some positions in the town, well, we were all willing to do that. So those are the two biggest pieces that we really wanted to make the least amount of impact to our students, and we really wanted to try to work with the town as much as we could without having them have to cut town positions. So with
great.
that said,
Awesome.
do you want to pull up
the spreadsheet? Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so a lot of these reductions are pretty self-explanatory. Again, as we said, that some of that information that we didn't have in our initial budget, that was late information that came through. For example, like the retirements, we had 2 late retirements that were put in. So we now know that those people were now retiring and coming off of the staff expenditure. We also have a leave that was extended for another year. In regards to staffing, there was an open position, one FTE open position that we basically just took off the books. We won't fill that. And then a recess monitor, thankfully with the administration, the principals and the staff, they were able to cover the lunch and recess as opposed to bringing in the recess monitor. Textbooks, again, as I said before, our ARC reading program, that's 6 years old at this point, and materials are getting worn, and the plan was to refresh all of that, but that's something that, again, if we're looking at taking out a staff person in town, we can certainly make that reduction. The bus refresh, that was a preventative maintenance. We have a whole cycle of when they should be replaced, but we seem to be in good shape according to our business manager. So we were able to take that off. The CB offset change, so that is the circuit breaker. That one and the salary, move salary to SC, that's move salary to school choice. I'm going to turn that over. Can you speak just a little bit specifically about what those two are?
Sure, absolutely. So school choice, I'm sure you're all pretty much aware with what that account is. That's the money we get for students who choice into Bourne Public Schools. And this particular position used to be on school choice, and we had moved it off the previous year. And due to the town's request and the financial issues that we're having this year and probably moving forward, we moved it back to school choice, which raises the question, why did it come off to begin with? So, I'm always trying to get to a point in the budget process where I'm budgeting for the money that we already have and not unanticipated funds, so that school choice was built up so that I'd only budget for what we got the previous year, and that would set the budget. And in this financial situation that we're in, we really don't have that luxury. So I'm still in the position now where I'm forecasting where we're going to end up at school choice this year and roll over to next FY27, and then doing, anticipating what we're going to get for school choice next year. So there's two variables there that, I always have to watch. So I was trying to get to a place where I was only budgeting what we got the previous year, and then that would set the school choice budget. Now we're sort of walking both fiscal years as it's a revolving account. It can roll over. Any questions on that particular one?
What do you mean by move the salary?
So the salary was hitting the operating budget, and now it's going to hit the school choice account.
Okay.
Operating budget is what we're asking of the town,
Mm-hmm.
and then school choice is a revolving account that we monitor. It's when we call offsets, we've got several of those accounts.
So it's not just one salary, it's
There's
several.
yeah,
Okay.
I want to say it's about 6 or 7 salaries that are funded through school choice.
Okay, thank you.
And then
Off the
you-
top of my head.
You were creative and had that extra money, right? You are so fiscally responsible, I think.
Well, it's not being creative.
Yeah.
It's doing your best to put the town and the school department in a place that's, it's responsible budgeting, to try to have that, to budget off of what you already have.
Right. While anticipating, right?
Well, no, then you don't have to anticipate, because
Right, 'cause
I was trying to get to a place where FY27 budgeting was based off of FY26 receipts,
Okay,
not bridge both the anticipated and
I see.
what's left over.
Okay. Thank you.
And the circuit breaker offset is an additional almost $97,000 coming off of the operating budget. Again, increasing circuit breaker, decreasing the operating budget. So circuit breaker is the money we get a year following any expense you get pretty much a reimbursement from the state. Typically it's about 75% above $55,000 the schools get back from the previous year.
Okay.
So I increased how much we're spending in circuit breaker.
Okay.
So that's the same scenario. We're not exactly sure what we'll get next year. We have a guesstimate based on what we put into the system, but we never know if they'll give us 65% or 75% or 60%. We don't know every year until it goes through legislation.
Okay.
So it's a good guesstimate.
Okay.
But the piece around that is what I call our safety net, for if
Right.
we get, someone with significant needs, a
Yeah.
move-in, and unanticipated. So that's something that now we have that much less of that safety net, which
Okay.
is why at the meeting we also spoke about a warrant article.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was a good presentation. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Very good. Are you?
Does anybody have any questions?
It was pretty thorough.
I think the one thing, I don't know if you want to mention it as far as a warrant article, but I think.
I'm going to read that letter that I had written to, and it has that.
Okay. Perfect.
I lost.
If I could as well, just briefly, because we did spend a lot of time talking about this data that Jordan pulled together. It was mentioned at the joint
Yes.
meeting, but just to make it really clear, Bourne isn't an outlier. We're very much in line with our surrounding towns.
Mhm.
It's simply what education costs now. So I didn't know if you wanted to say anything about that. I linked it as well.
Yeah, I think this is really important for everybody at home to know. And this is directly from DESI, our DESI profile. So this is all public knowledge. But, based on our per pupil expenditures, our enrollment, our FTEs and teachers, the salaries of our teachers, everything is in line with all of our other towns that are around us. So, as Dr. Joad said, we are definitely not an outlier, and we are not, overspending or.
No, and even we're on the lower end on some things, right?
In many cases, yeah.
Yep.
There's a few different ways to kind of look at that data, and it's all here. Net school spending, and I think that was the last sheet. So,
Yeah, that's a good one to look at.
5-year data was interesting, yeah.
Okay, that's on our website. Yes, great. All righty. Thank you, everybody. All righty, so discussion items. So I guess we'll vote on the proposed FY27 revised budget. No questions or anything like? No. Okay.
So I move that we vote to approve the new proposed FY27 revised budget.
Second?
Second that?
All right, Kimberly. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions? No? Any discussion? All righty, that has been passed unanimously.
So we'll create a new budget slide, right?
Okay,
Slides,
yeah.
because we'll be presenting this on March 31st. So
Okay.
I'll send it to the committee to see, but it will show a reduction of, could we say that actual number?
$478,532.
Yeah.
Perfect. So that's what we'll show. That's what you just voted on. I just want to make sure.
Yep, yes.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Good number.
All righty, so that passed unanimously. That's great. Any public input at this time? No? Okay. All righty. Action items, we voted on we need to move to put on the agenda what is it, the
METG
METG?
overnight field trip.
Overnight field trip, and are you going to explain that?
I will.
Okay.
I think you
Sure,
need to, yeah, you probably need to.
So
Yeah.
I've moved that we put on the agenda the vote for the MTEG overnight trip.
Okay. Second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any abstentions? Any discussion?
Well, then we just moved to put it on the
We just
agenda.
moved it, okay.
Yeah.
So there's nothing to discuss, okay.
So now it's as
All
if
right.
it says vote to approve the overnight trip.
Okay,
And, you can put on something in an emergency when you just found out about it, and we just
found out about
which
it.
is
Yeah,
exciting
that's
news
fine.
about them winning at the
Absolutely.
semi-level. So I'll let Christine talk about that, but then I do hope that we can also have a discussion and a vote about the warrant article at the end, so that we have
okay,
clarity on that.
sure.
Are you able to pull up that slide?
Yeah.
I know Dr. Joe dropped a slide deck into your folders as well. So if you did not hear the really exciting news, our our drama students who were part of this one-act play competition went to semifinals. So they hosted the preliminaries, then they went to semifinals on Saturday, and they placed. So they're able to go on to states. So they now have states. It's the weekend of March 27th, that Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and it is held in Boston. And so, as you can see, it typically includes over 100 one-act plays. That's from the beginning, and now they're down to, I don't know how many, maybe 15
Yeah, it's not that
for
many.
finals. So yeah, it's really quite prestigious to be headed to states. Their play was Diversion. If you didn't have an opportunity to see it, I think you're going to have another opportunity this week, a little birdie told me. And then I do also just want to point out that a number of our students received awards at finals. So Ben Longo for the sound design, Kayla, I always say it wrong, Kayla for the excellence in costume design, Shay Riley, Ariana and Ryan all received acting awards, and then Miranda Rosignol for scene design. So, I mean, it was really quite outstanding. We're so proud of those guys.
I feel like they're Oscars.
It is sort of like the Oscars.
That's
It very
so
much
awesome.
is. Their last state final win was in 2013. I'm not sure when the last time they went to state finals was, but their last state final win was in 2013. So we're looking to have you potentially approve a field trip now, overnight field trip for 20 students, including, which is the cast and the crew. Their performance is on Friday, March 27th, but they need to be there for Thursday for their run-throughs. And their tech rehearsal is at 11:30 a.m. on Thursday. So they have to be there quite early on Thursday, then they have to be back there again on Friday, then they have to be back there again on Saturday. So they're looking to, if possible, stay in the city as opposed to going back and forth.
Because it's traditional that you watch all the shows. You're the
Oh,
audience for
okay.
it. I have to say, I maybe was in it when I was.
Oh,
It's awesome.
yes.
It's really
It comes out
amazing.
now.
It's like
Yes.
the best field trip to be able to
Oh,
see
that's awesome.
15, one-act shows from all your colleagues and students across the state. It's really a special time. So
It is.
even if they don't, place and go on to New England, it's just such,
The
it's such an honor
experience.
to be chosen to go.
That's awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
Ben Affleck performed in mine that I went to.
He did?
So you were in one.
Wow.
Well, I was not in it, I was stage, but yes.
Well, you were in it.
I was
You
part
should
of
have
it,
told
yes.
us you were royalty.
Well, okay, I did not meet Ben Affleck. He happens to be there.
Happens to know that Ben Affleck also was there.
Here.
Yes, he probably says, I met Perry
Yes, he-
Schofield.
He probably does. It's often.
So you never know who's going to be there.
That's true.
No,
That's
that's
true.
amazing. Congratulations to all of them.
Yeah, and to Carrie.
And then,
Yes, true. Extra congratulations to Ben. So they're proposing that 20 students, they would take a bus to Boston Thursday morning, home at around 9 p.m. on Saturday. And I do think, to Dr. Joe's point, it's 3 really long days if they're trying to bus it back and forth. And I do also think it's quite expensive then to also have the buses for those 3 days. So they're in the middle of exploring accommodations, because this all came about pretty much today. But they're looking at the Hilton or the Sheraton. They would be getting 5 rooms, 2 male rooms, 3 female rooms, and then 2 chaperone rooms. So Tristan Burke and Sean Silva are the 2 teachers that have been working with it, and then I think they would bring an additional chaperone of Mrs. Burke. She has done a lot of the work with the choreography with the drama club as well.
I know her.
Yeah, and she's already chorused and staff member with us and all that. So the bus round trip to Boston, the cost is approximately $800. They have drama funds to manage that, I believe. The hotel accommodations, they believe it's going to be about $200 to $250 per student, including meals. They would be sure the hotel's walking distance to the performance site. The NI grant would cover the teacher substitute coverage, the cost of the truck rental for the set that they've got to haul up there, and the chaperone hotel rooms. We would be looking for students to support their own hotel rooms. However, we do have funding available for students who may have a hardship, certainly at this late time as well. And I know that Mr. Burke was looking to potentially, he's going to put in a fundraising form to do a performance that would be like a fundraising performance as well.
Which would also be great for them to.
Give it one more
Perform
go
it again,
and
yeah.
perform it
what would
locally
that
one
look
more
like?
time.
Just sort of have it here and then?
They would have it here, yeah, so they had the preview show like before the prelims, they would do something similar.
Oh, that's great.
I think it would be next Tuesday. So we are, and I will say, not to reveal any students' personal information, but I know the nurse has cleared all of the students involved to go on the field trip without nursing support. So I think we're, in terms of a field trip lift, it's a fairly direct one. So I think we would be in good shape.
All righty, so do we want to vote for?
To approve the MTEG trip to Boston.
Second.
Okay, thank you, Kat. Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any discussion? I don't have my sheet in front of me. Oh, any abstentions?
Yeah.
Sorry, everybody. Any abstentions? No, okay. That was passed unanimously, so thank you.
Thank you so, we really appreciate that. Thank you so
Gosh,
much.
That's such exciting news.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
Absolutely.
awesome.
really exciting.
Okay, excellent. All righty, so do you want me to, I should read my letter now?
I think so, because there's that
Okay.
one more piece.
One
that,
more piece at
again,
the bottom.
So if you'd like, I
Okay.
can give some background, which Kendallin also knows. So
Sure.
the warrant articles needed to be into Town Hall by last Friday. So when we had some discussion that seemed like there was going to be a request for a warrant article, I asked Mrs. Beals to tell Chair Ferretti that we had this placeholder. So that's what she's going to read. I will say that we saw their draft of all the warrant articles, and the placeholder is there. But there's no dollar amount attached to it yet, it's just a placeholder. Might be how it needs to stay right now until we kind of know how and if they can fund it. But the reason why this discussion occurred is because of that swing you saw in circuit breaker. Again, that's our safety net. We know there are students going through the IEP process, and there's discussions about possible expenses that we won't know for a few more months. And we didn't want to be, putting the school district in a situation where if we need it, we don't really have that. So the other place where they have the safety net is through the special ed reserve fund, where if a need arises anytime during the school year, we're able to, just like we've done in the past, ask the Board of Select to transfer some money if we need it. So again, we won't ask for it unless we need it, but it currently only has $100,000 in it, and easily a tuition could cost $300,000 or $400,000, in one fell swoop. So getting that replenished up into about $500,000 is really where you want to be to have a rainy day fund just in case.
Okay.
So
Thank you for that
backstory
explanation, Dr. Joe. All righty. So dear Chair, this is my letter. Dear Chair Ferretti, following the discussion at the joint meeting between the school committee and the select board on Tuesday, March 10th, regarding the town's projected budget deficit, I wanted to provide you with an update from the school committee. At a meeting this morning of the school committee's Budget and Facilities Subcommittee, the members discussed recommending to the full school committee a reduction to the Bourne Public Schools FY27 budget in the amount of $478,532. If adopted by the full committee, which it was, this adjustment would effectively close the articulated municipal deficit while allowing the town to maintain all currently planned services. These proposed reductions are based in part on revised information that has become available since the original budget projections were developed. In order to reach the entire requested amount, the school department is also relying more heavily on certain offset funding sources that we are not confident will be replenished at the same level in future years. Additionally, several unknowns remain regarding out-of-district special education placements and associated tuition costs, which continue to represent one of the most significant areas of budget volatility for schools across the state. Because of these uncertainties, the school committee remains concerned about reducing the operating budget without ensuring that there are mechanisms available to address unanticipated special education costs should they arise during the fiscal year. Therefore, we would respectfully request, my computer, sorry guys. Request consideration of an article on the upcoming town warrant to add funds to the Special Education Reserve Fund. This would provide the town with an appropriate financial safeguard should additional special education costs occur. We were told by Superintendent Quinlan Joe that the deadline to submit the article is today, which was Friday, so please accept the draft language below as our submission to meet the deadline. Article: to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds a sum of money to the Special Education Reserve Fund or take any other action in relation thereto. Motion: we move that the town vote to approve the sum of X amount for the purposes of this article and to meet appropriation by transferring the sum of X amount from free cash. We appreciate the continued collaboration between the school committee and the select board as we work together to address the town's fiscal challenges while continuing to support the needs of Bourne students and community. Sincerely, Donnell Beals. Okay, so that was the letter.
So Jordan, if I may, through the chair,
Yes, absolutely.
do we usually have a vote of the school committee when we're putting an article on? They're usually capital articles though. So do we need a vote right now to kind of lock in what the request was?
Oh, you'd have to pick a number, I mean,
I know, we don't have a number, right? You can't leave it blank, obviously.
I have a question. Would we ask the town to participate in discussion saying, is 200,000 reasonable? Is 300,000 reasonable? Because if we ask for a number that's going to get rejected because of the number, maybe coming to an agreement with the town on what number, what dollar value seems reasonable might be a good way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
Zoe?
good suggestion.
How else does that account get replenished?
Good question, may I answer?
Yes, absolutely.
So it's on town meeting floor is where this article would go. And so it's kind of think of it like an account of the town. So in order for it to get replenished, it has to get voted that money would go in. Normally it's through free cash, which means at the very end of a fiscal year, there might be monies left over that, came back to the town or in some way, shape, or form, and they would put that on. So usually at this point, they would know what money they have, and they would be able to put that number in. I think that if we're looking at this year, which is a strange year, there is a possibility that some monies might become available depending on how things kind of pan out with the current assessment from the vocational school. So I think we're kind of in a place of an unknown. They are having a budget hearing on the 31st, which you could maybe also choose a joint, do a quorum and have a meeting at that time. But I think that we'd have to talk with the town first to see if they would want that. Or we would have to have, as Jordan said, another school committee meeting where you voted a specific number if we kind of knew where things were going. The question, I think, the big question is to find out from the town when they need that number by. Because if they can wait till April 1st, that's when your next meeting is.
That's when our meeting is.
So if they can keep it as a placeholder through their budget hearing, and then you could vote maybe April 1st.
I wouldn't have an answer though
I
until
don't either.
tomorrow. Yeah.
And
I
I
know.
guess if there's a consensus vote, I mean, you were the one who requested it through your letter.
Yes.
I told you should, right?
Yes.
Because I knew there was a deadline. But
Yes.
as long as there's a consensus vote, I feel like everything's in order, which means everyone kind of agrees that we'd like an article. But then I think at some point when we know, we would need to know when they need that number. You have to do a real vote.
Okay.
We still do a vote now, but it's sort of a preliminary vote.
I mean, a consensus vote just means everyone's kind of in agreement, or you could vote to put a vote on the agenda, and then you could have an actual vote.
But that means
Maybe
we
with
have
a
to-
range, I don't know how you'd want to do it.
We
I mean, we
couldn't,
could
we
get
couldn't
answers.
vote on a number contingent on the town agreeing to this, and if it's less than. So again,
We'll do
not
that.
to.
Oh, I like that.
Not to have
Yes.
bureaucracy on their meeting is this date and our meeting's the following date, and we have to have another special meeting.
Yeah.
When at the end of the day, we know we want to vote to have that funded, whatever it takes, whether it's 100,000 or 300,000, we don't care. We would rather it be funded than not be funded to protect ourselves and the students. So is there a way in protocol to be able to say, we vote yes, we want that funded to whatever high dollar amount, but agreeing that if the town says a lower number X is going to be more acceptable to the town and more likely to pass, we'll go with it. We want to get it passed.
Yeah,
So
without
can we
another
do
meeting.
something like that?
I
I
like
personally
that.
can't see why not, but
I like
it's not
that.
usually how it's done. But I think as long as you're voting together on something
Yes.
that's directing us on how to move forward, then I don't see a problem.
Is 200 reasonable? Do you think, Mr. Geist, or?
don't know.
In the past, and speaking with past town administrators, we were trying to get that account up to $500,000, up to 500,000.
Right, but I want to be,
But I agree, any amount.
It might,
going-
it might be a giant step right now.
Yeah, any amount going
Yeah.
in would be.
Especially
why don't we
facing,
say 250? Is
yeah,
that good?
yeah, and especially facing just, we went through a deficit, and now, we're weighing it out. And of course, if there's money that comes back to the town because of the trade
Right.
school,
Yeah.
or whatever, then and we'll know that whenever, because that could be, we can know that in 6 months, we can know that in a year. We can tap into that, but maybe not look to fill it all at once, but halfway might be a good place.
I think 250 would be good. Yes.
Thank you. Maybe the solution is to vote for the article in the amount that the town,
Whatever amount you mean.
yeah, that, if, or whatever amount that the town feels is acceptable.
Appropriate.
Appropriate for
Okay,
for the
so
given
vote
financial
article
situation.
in-
Do we want to give a little bit of a range? I'm just saying, just because we don't want to hear 25,000 and then we all get deflated.
No, I think
No.
25,000 is a great start. I think
Okay.
if there is
Any money.
anything, then,
Yeah,
Okay.
any money that is
And-
zero money.
because in the past, from my memory, which isn't great, for these types of requests, we've never given an amount.
No,
It's always
given a
been
placeholder.
It's
Okay.
always been the town that said, this is what we can afford to do this year.
Okay.
And then we'll try to do a similar the next year. So I think we might be stepping on toes if we request a certain amount. It's sort of always been up to them to determine how much and when that happens.
That's why I was saying a consensus vote here, you can have discussion about it, of course, you can have an official vote, that's up to you. But just I see heads nodding, which means you're in consensus, that we can move forward, and this will be part of the request to the town.
Yes. So we don't have to do a formal vote then, it sounds like.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah. If it was capital, you have to, but this is different.
okay, are we going to have another meeting tomorrow night? No.
That
Another
one tomorrow
school
night.
committee
We didn't
meeting.
post for that.
I think we're going to be pros at this. Okay, so great. All righty. I don't think there's anything else, right? All right.
Move to adjourn the meeting?
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions? Any discussion? Motion passes. Thank you very much, everybody. Thanks for coming.